Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I want to welcome all of our loyal viewers across the world, and especially our friends at E360 TV, Roku Worldwide, and Amazon Fire. Our show today is a woman's prerogative, and it's going to be really heating up in here as we're talking about hormonal health and women's wellness. Joining me is the fabulous Dr. Madalene Chan from London. Let's bring her out and hear what she has to say. Hello there.
Hey, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello, E360 TV. Hello, Universal Global TV and Radio viewers. Oh, it's a little bit hot today in the studio. Woo!
It's hot in the studio as well.
It's humid.
So Dr. Chan, as you know, is one of our weekly panelists. Our other panelists are not here with us today, but we actually have a guest backstage. We didn't get a chance to talk to her as of yet, but we'll be bringing her out momentarily. So today's show is all about women's wellness and women's health. And before we get into the topic, would you mind sharing with our audience a little bit about the work that you do? Because you are an award-winning singer, songwriter, novelist, vocal coach. You're part of a company that helps people get their words into song, and you do so much. Tell us more.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Well, I've been a singer for a long time now, a couple of 2 decades now, and I'm known as the Creative Heart Awakened, a soul heart awakener. What I tend to do is I love creativity. I love collaboration, working with people to help bring their creative genius out there. Because I do believe that when you work with creativity, you become more childlike and you bring out the best of your work and you express your creativity through that. And this is what I do. I help you to play, to bring out your creativity, your genius, and manifest it into the 3D world with confidence.
There you go. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love the smile on your face. I know you just came from a big event. Do you want to tell our audience a little bit about that as well?
Oh, yes. Sunday, I was at a garden party, and it was the launch of a very good friend. She's a novelist and a publisher. And she asked myself and Claudio, who's my singing partner, and we did a show called Songs from Legends, and it's basically songs that are crooning songs, pop songs, contemporary, soul, more jazz, a little bit of rock, a little bit of dance. It's just a little bit of everything thrown in to a 2-hour show. We did 4 half hours, and it was a beautiful afternoon, and there was so many. It was a celebration of women empowerment for the voice of women. And these women, 22 women, were in this book, and it was for the celebration of these 22 women. At the same time, their partners were there to support them too. So, and there was children as well. It was lovely. It was an absolutely blessed afternoon. Uplifted, people were dancing, a little bit of drinking, good food. It was just lovely. Yeah, so that's what I got up to on Sunday.
Fantastic. Sounds like a great time. I'm really glad that you had that opportunity and you networked with so many people. And you're always the queen of networking. So thank you for all that you do for our platform and for me as well.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to bring out our guest, and I love when this happens. Our guest was actually referred to us from another one of our TV show hosts, so it's about bringing awareness and giving people the opportunity to come on and share their story, and also to be a guest on our show. So I hope I'm saying her name right, Jessica Sandoval. We'll find out. She's the founder of Jessica Sandoval Coaching. Let's welcome Jessica to the program. Hello.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Chan. Hi, Dr. Kerbeck. How are you?
Hi, it's great to see you.
Hi, thank you.
How do you say your last name?
Sandoval.
Sandoval?
Sandoval.
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 Yeah, Sandoval. Very pretty.
Yes. Thank
Where
you.
in the world are you?
Where am I? I'm in Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm in New Jersey, and Dr. Chan is in the UK.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Fantastic. So today's show is a woman's prerogative. We're talking about women's health. Before we get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you help people and how people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to. I will talk about this any chance I get. So I am the founder of a coaching program for moms. I help moms experiencing burnout to communicate more effectively with their kids, to practice mindfulness and cognitive-based therapy techniques to help them manage their emotions and manage things when things get stressful. Moms have we have a stressful life. It's a lot. So it also helps moms to work together with a coach to maintain accountability and to also enjoy their mom experience. So that is how I help moms.
And how can people get in touch with you?
So my email is my full name. It's jessicasandovalcoaching@gmail.com. Send me a webmail anytime. Or I am on Instagram at justthemomcoach.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We just followed you right now. So
Yay.
So today, ladies, we're talking about hormonal health. And obviously, as a mother, before you become a mother, and then after becoming a mother, there's all kinds of things going on with hormones. But for so long, people didn't want to talk about it. And you could be somewhere and all of a sudden you start having hot flashes, you're sweating, or whatever happens. And people would just look at you like there's something wrong with you. But now it seems to be more mainstream. At least that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts, Dr. Chan?
It's quite interesting you say this, Dr. Jacalyn, because my mother went through the menopause and the hot flushes, and also a good friend of mine did as well. I was out with her. 1 minute it was really cold, and she started perspiring and sweating. And I said, "What's wrong with you?" She said, "I'm having a hot flush." And that's how I got kind of introduced to hot flushes, what it was. And it's really not a very nice experience to have these hot flushes and the mood swings and everything. It's almost being a slave to your hormones, you know. It's like we've got to stop being a slave to your hormones and let us work with our hormones instead of let them control us.
Yeah, excellent point. Jessica, what are your thoughts about what Dr. Chan just said?
I think Dr. Chan is right on the money. I'm experiencing the opposite end of that. So I'm 41, and I have not yet experienced the other end, the menopausal end. But as a mom, especially a first-time mom, I have a beautiful 2.5-year-old daughter. But as a first-time mom, I personally was not expecting the kind of hormonal changes that I would go through after giving birth. And it's definitely a thing that people do look at you and they kind of think, what is going on with her? I remember sitting watching TV while I was pregnant, and I was very pregnant at that time. And my husband asked me to do something, and I forget what it was, but for some reason I just started crying, and then I started laughing. And then I was crying and laughing at the same time, and he just looked at me and he goes, "Hormones?" And I was like, yes. And it was something totally silly and ridiculous, but I took it so personally because of the hormones, not because he was being mean or anything. But yeah, to talk about this and to bring this to the forefront is to really shine that light on how women and moms experience daily life.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And also, I think it's interesting. We're talking about a lot of physical things that happen to us. When those physical things happen, it has a big impact on us mentally as well. So we're already upset that these things are going on. And then people are looking at us or we feel uncomfortable. We're sort of dripping in sweat. And then we start to go inside. And so that can be a dangerous place to go too. What are some options that you may have explored? I know there's all types of hormonal therapy that's out there. I've never looked into it, but I know a number of people who have. But if you've ever experienced any of these symptoms, what have you done? We'll go back to Jessica first.
Sure. So I have experienced what I call burnout, motherhood burnout, or that turmoil of hormones that we experience after we give birth. Um, and unfortunately for us, for new moms or first time moms, or just having been, just having given birth, we don't have a lot of options in terms of medical options. It's just something we have to kind of get through. And that's what we're told a lot also by the medical community, is it's just something you have to deal with and get through, which is kind of what led me to create this program, is to kind of give another option for moms to get that cheerleader in their corner and that ability to tweak things and tweak techniques, things like that, to help moms deal with some of that uncomfortableness. Like you were saying, one thing I really used was mindfulness, and I love mindfulness, and don't get me started because I'll talk for another 2 hours on it.
Mindfulness is an excellent alternative. Yes. Dr. Chan, have you ever practiced mindfulness or meditation?
Yes, I do that on a daily basis. On the point of waking up, my gratitude and going into meditation every morning, 1 hour at least. And that doesn't mean I'm in meditation 1 hour. It just means I'm in quiet, sacred space and just either listening to music that's a certain frequency and just somewhere, just in space. So I do that, yeah, and then I get up.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. I think what's also interesting is that from what I've read, the menopausal journey can go on for 10 years. But I know I went and got a blood test whenever it was. I'm 61 now, so maybe when I was 55 or something, and it showed that I was in that 10 years, but I don't know when it's over, So do you have symptoms through the whole thing? I guess it depends on who you are.
That's an interesting question, actually, Dr. Jacalyn, because some women can go through menopause and not even realize they've got it.
Right. That's true. And other women, everybody knows they have it, unfortunately.
Screaming, literally screaming. They need to put something in the teeth to
Well, another thing that comes up
giving birth.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think there was a delay. Sorry about that. Is weight gain. Weight gain, getting thicker around the middle. I know for myself, as somebody who's been working out actively for almost my whole life, I can do 10 times what I used to do, and I still can't get to where I want to be because of the hormones. So that has had taken a toll on me in many cases. And I just keep saying to myself, I can't get back to where I was when I was 20. No, you can't. Just accept it. But we have to be grateful for where we are today. And I think that's a big part of it, is the gratitude. So Jessica, it sounds like with your coaching program, you have a number of ways to help mothers. And this, what we're talking about today, just happens to fit into that. By the way, you didn't even know what the topic was when you booked in for the show. So how coincidental is that?
It's great.
So with your coaching program, can you walk us through what is the process that you use with people? So anybody out there thinking, yeah, I'd like to give her a call. What do I do?
Yeah, so I'd love to. So basically, what the program looks like is a 12-week program. If anyone is interested, send me an email or find me on Instagram. What we do is we'll sit down for the first meeting and we'll just kind of talk about, what your needs are, what you're experiencing most of all. And I think that's the biggest thing that what brings moms to me is their experience. They may be experiencing that irritability, that feelings of like being out of control. And, like you were saying, Dr. Jacalyn, like needing to work on like the gratitude, because as a first time mom and as, a mom, a younger mom, like I'm with you. I can't get back to where I used to be when I was, in high school. And practicing that gratitude and realizing that, nope, I can't, but this is what I can do. So we would talk about needs. We would talk about where, mom is at that particular point in time. And then subsequent sessions are basically based around what mom is experiencing that week within the context of mindfulness, within the context of CBT. And I also am happy to check in with moms halfway through the week. So if I give you homework and I check in with you and you're like, this didn't work the way I thought it would, let's tweak it. Let's see how we can make this work. And that's kind of the difference between myself and a therapist. And I was a therapist. So that's kind of what the process is like. And then usually it's on Zoom. And but if you're local, I'll meet with you locally if you want.
It's fantastic. I love the fact that you're so flexible and so caring and passionate about what you're doing. And I want to follow up on something you just said. So you said that you had been a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who aren't aware, what would you say are some of the main differences between a therapist and a coach?
Absolutely. That's such a great question. So some of the main differences between a therapist and a coach is more of accountability and a cheerleader. So I'm the one that's standing on the side, texting you and saying, hey, did you try that technique? What did you think? And also I'm the one that's like really cheering for you. I have a client right now who moved from Indonesia to Finland. And I texted her and I just said, I'm thinking about you. I'm hoping that your move is going okay. So there's more of a personal touch than with a therapist. There's not necessarily that kind of wall between therapist and client that exists. With coaching, it's more like, it's a little more personal. And I'm working more on skills than processing feelings necessarily.
Excellent. I have a follow-up before I go over to Dr. Chan. So someone had said to me at some point earlier, I remember I went to marriage counseling like decades and decades ago, and they said that a therapist, when you see a therapist, it's a very long-term process, as opposed to when you're working with a coach, you're accountable for certain things and they're cheering you to the finish line so that you actually get there. Whereas with therapy, it can take years. Is that true?
So the medical model now with insurance companies, when it comes to therapy, they don't want long-term therapy anymore because they have to pay for it. So they don't want 20, 30, 40 years of being in therapy anymore. If they see that, then they're going to cut off, financial support for that, because it indicates to them that nothing's happening. But to your point about coaching and how it's more short-term and focused, yes, absolutely. I find now that with therapy, therapists are working more on processing the feelings and less on the skills and the personal touch of a coach. My therapist is not going to text me in the middle of the week and ask me how I'm doing, and say, hey, I heard your big interview's coming up for TV. Like, are you feeling nervous? Do you need anything? But I could do that as a coach.
Excellent. I love that. That was a great thing to share with our audience so people understand. Dr. Chan, what are your thoughts about what Jessica shared about the difference between therapy and coaching?
Well, I was just thinking if I could just ask one question, actually, Dr. Jacalyn, to Jessica. Do you actually work with the hospital? For example, when you have a baby, then you're assigned a midwife. So do you work with the midwife or with the hospital? Anybody from that's part of the health?
I think your question. I think I got your question, Dr. Chan. You broke up a little bit, so I think I got your question. It sounds like you were asking if I work with within a hospital setting.
That's right.
All right. Yeah. I actually don't right now. I am working in just as a private business owner. I have thought multiple times about trying to get hooked up with a local hospital. And I think that would be a fabulous idea. Just trying to figure out how to kind of work that out and pitch that at this point. I also am just starting out, so I appreciate the feedback and the suggestion.
Yeah, I know. I just got that download for you.
Nice.
You'll understand in the way that I always end up being connected with someone's higher consciousness to what, what's in their heart and what they want to, the bigger picture.
Got it. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
And the difference, so going back to your question, Dr. Jacalyn, the therapist and the coach, I can see that you would have the therapist and the coach, and you have to play two roles. Am I correct in saying that? Do you have true discernment when you have to play the therapist and the coach? Do you know what signs to look for?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So as a therapist, a former therapist, there are definitely signs to look for. And they were the same signs that I was looking for in myself after I gave birth to my daughter, that I ended up finding that suggested that I probably needed to go see a therapist. But yes, there are definitely times when I am kind of on the lookout for certain symptoms, I don't want to call them symptoms, but certain red flags or certain issues that are popping up. And I say to myself, ooh, okay, this might be problematic. And, there's always that, what do I do with that next? And, moving the person over to maybe suggesting, hey, I think you might want to go see a therapist when it comes to this and such a thing. But also, yes, there are times when I'm in total coach mode, and but yeah, the signs and symptoms to watch out for are still very fresh in my mind, so I'm very aware of those. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jessica. Great answers.
Thank you. The next thing I'd like to look at is, as women, we can say, I can't say everyone, but we put ourselves last many times. And so as a new mother, I would wonder that the mother wouldn't want to take the time for herself because she has to take care of the child growing inside plus everything around. So for mothers who are out there thinking, wow, I could really use some sessions with Jessica, but I don't matter as much. I'm in the back. Yeah. So let's clear up that myth right away.
Oh, I would love to. It's funny. I just did an Instagram live post on this morning. But yes, absolutely. It's the myth of the good mother. And the myth of the good mother is that we have to be, in order to be a good mom, we have to be taking care of everybody else except ourselves. We have to be last on the list in order to be considered a good mother, or not even on the list in some cases. And that's rough. And I think that in order to fill someone else's cup, we have to fill our own cup first. We cannot pour from an empty cup. And, that's one analogy that I use all the time with clients and with people that I'm talking to. And as well, when I was a therapist too, it still applies. We can't take care of other people if we're not taking care of ourselves. And another great idea, analogy that I had heard was, the last time you were on a plane and you were going somewhere, when the oxygen masks come down and they give you that little spiel in the beginning about what you need to do, the first thing they say is put the oxygen mask on yourself first, then attend to people next to you. So we have to make sure that we are in a good place mentally, emotionally, physically, in order to be able to take care of other people. And I have found personally that when I do, I'm a much better mom. I'm a much better mom, and I'm a much better spouse to my husband. So that's me. I'm clearing up that myth right away. I work extensively on my Instagram to get rid of that myth.
Yay, let's cheer that.
I love that. I think that's great, Jessica, because if you're not fully healthy, how can you take care of anyone? Well, 100%. Your baby. Oh, wow. I love it. Yeah.
It's very true. So, in terms of providing education, which is what it is that we do here, obviously the three of us are all advocates for empowering women and for self-care and for finding our passion. And I found that when we found our passion, many times our health can come along with us in a positive way. What are your thoughts, Jessica? I see you shaking your head. Tell us more.
Absolutely. Our passion is what gives us drive, what gives us motivation. And also going back to your point previously, Dr. Jacalyn, about gratitude, once we're able to feel that gratitude for finding that, it helps us to actually get sick less. When we feel good about ourselves, we take care of ourselves more. We put more effort into physically taking care of ourselves and emotionally taking care of ourselves. And as a former therapist, I can tell you that physical health and emotional health are inextricably linked. If you are not feeling good mentally, you're probably not going to be feeling good physically as well. So absolutely. When you find that thing that lights your fire and gets you really going, it gives you motivation to do other things. And that helps 1,000% with everything else.
Absolutely. Thank
Woo!
you.
Well
Yay.
said. Woo! Love
you.
it. Love it.
Dr. Chan, would you say you found your passion in life?
I think so. Yeah. 100% I've found my passion. But the thing is, I've got like a couple, 2 or 3 passions, and it's kind of gets a little bit when you've got too many of them. It's going, okay, I'm going to have to grow some of them. Focus on some of them.
I remember before I started doing the television production and I was in corporate and I had a few things I was doing on the side, I would have, especially men, they would say, you don't know what you want. That's why you're doing so many different things. And I said, I'm very curious. I like to learn. I was a makeup artist. I've done so many different things on the side and they were all learning journeys, some of them better than others. But if you don't put yourself out there to try something, how will you know? So I think that's also important when we think about our well-being is curiosity, being curious and open to new things. Jessica, you're nodding your head.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this was a huge switch for me personally. And I can definitely relate to Dr. Chan and to you, Dr. Jacalyn, about having all these passions and people kind of saying, oh, do you even know what you want? No, I want all this stuff. I'm curious. I want to know. And for me, business has been, it's turned into a passion because at the start, I had no idea what I was doing. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to help people in a way that made me feel passionate and made me feel excited, but I didn't know how. And I knew I needed to learn the business end of it. So as soon as I started to really learn the business end of it, I became more and more interested and more passionate about what is all of this for? How do I market things? How do I do all these other things? And something that honestly, truthfully, I never thought I had a head for. People would say, oh, why don't you go into business when I was in college? You should go into business. You'll make a lot of money. I don't know anything about business. I'm terrible at it. Come to find out, I just didn't know what I didn't know. And now I'm like, I actually know how to do this stuff. This is pretty understandable and I like it. So yeah, you gotta find what makes you passionate. And if you have more than one, then I think it's all the better.
Absolutely makes life interesting.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Jessica, if I can ask a question.
Of course.
Did you find that, how old are your children?
I have one. She is 2.5 years old.
Oh,
wow. Oh my gosh, a newbie.
Yeah, I'm a noob.
Yeah. But of course, that you'll be learning so much from her. And so have you applied that to when you're coaching mothers or mothers to be?
Can you repeat that question? I missed part of it.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Because you have children, you have a little girl, two years old, 2.5?
2.5.
2.5, yeah. So do you use what you're learning from your little girl and apply it to the moms to be, so that they're more relaxed and calm in awaiting for their special little bundle to be birthed?
So I have yet to work with moms who are expecting. The clients that I have now have children already, but yes, I mean my daughter, willing or otherwise, is a example for almost every coaching client I have. I always talk about how, this and such a thing happened, and here's how I dealt with it. And I find that giving those real life examples that are probably something that just happened about 10 minutes ago um, is so helpful, because it makes things more relatable, and it allows moms to see, like, okay, she's dealing with this too. It's fine. It'll be fine. Um, and also just sharing when things don't work out. The lessons that I learned from my daughter of things that just don't work are just as important as the things that are golden nuggets that are perfect. So sometimes I'll try something with her and it'll utterly bomb. And I share that. And I share that often because I feel like it's important to know that motherhood is a trial and error. It's a trial and error
Yeah.
experience, and we're going to try things, and some stuff's going to bomb, and some stuff is going to be absolutely amazing.
It's interesting you say that, because my niece, she was trying to be a perfect mother, and she put herself through so much mental stumbling blocks
Yeah.
to try be the perfect mother. And what would you suggest for anyone who's trying to be the perfect mother, the perfect
Doesn't
mom?
exist.
Doesn't
It doesn't exist. There's a million ways to be a good mom, but there's no such thing as a perfect mom, because we are, at the end of the day, before we're moms, before we're even women, before we're anything else, we are human, and human beings are fallible. We make mistakes. We say things we shouldn't say. We do things we shouldn't do. And so being a perfect mom, it's not something that I would ever encourage my clients to do, because, like you said, it provides a lot of mental stumbling blocks and a lot of angst and anxiety when you don't accomplish that. And it's so much pressure to put on one person.
Yeah,
Fantastic answer.
excellent.
I really think everybody should reach out to you. All mothers to
I would love
be,
that.
moms to be. And the ones that have got their little bundle of joy with them now.
Oh, I would love that. That'd be great.
Jessica, I want to touch on something that you mentioned just a minute ago, because I think it's so fantastic that you were a therapist and now you're a coach, because they are different fields. But there are times when we make mistakes because we are humans, as you said. And I find now at this age of 61, I'll give myself grace and I'll say, okay, you can have a boohoo party for 10 minutes, or you can be upset for an hour, but we need to push on. But some people don't push on. Some people really like to be in the past, and you can have a conversation with them and they're bringing up 10 years ago. You're like, no, I'm not going there. So my question for you is, when is it healthy to live in the past and when is it not?
Oh, wow. That is such
Da-da-da.
a
Oh,
$1,000,000
Loaded
question.
question.
Wow. I think it's important to take lessons from the past. Um, and this is something that is a personal um, uh, touch point for me. Because I mean, I've had family members who have their postal code, their zip code is firmly in the past. And the problem with that is you're missing out on so much of what's going on right now. And for some people, it's an escape. Um, but to get back to your point, there's lessons to be learned. There are things that we can learn along the way from the past. We can learn that, you know what, I tried that thing last week and it just didn't work. How can I move forward? How can I tweak this and push on? And I think having, like you said, a boohoo party, I call it a pity party. I think having a pity party for 10 minutes and then moving on is such a great idea. It is such a powerful exercise, especially setting that time boundary and saying, I'm not going to let this go past 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, because then it's going to take over my whole life. And there's so much else to do. So I think learning from the past is incredibly important. I think learning from your own past and maybe learning from other people's past is important as well. But taking those lessons and figuring out how to move forward with them and apply the knowledge and the skills from those lessons to improve your future is what I would encourage people to do.
You nailed it. I love it. See, it
Me
wasn't that
too.
big.
Me
You got
too.
it right on the head.
It was a great question. It's such a powerful question.
What haven't I asked you that you'd like to talk about today as we come towards the end of the show?
Oh my goodness. I feel like we really had a great conversation. I would just like to kind of go a little bit onto kind of what it means to be a mom across, I want to say across cultures. Client I'm currently working with is Indonesian. She's Muslim. We come from very different places physically. We come from very different places, ethnically, religiously. But I think being a mom is one of those jobs that, while it can be so rewarding and it can be so wonderful, it can also be so incredibly challenging. And I think the ability to look at it and to step back and take ourselves back a step and say, this is super hard, but it's okay, I think is a huge skill that we as a society, especially a Western society, we need to work a little more on, because we have this tendency to say to moms who are, complaining or whatever the term you want to use. And you say, well, you signed up for this. This is what you signed up for. What were you expecting? Just because something is hard doesn't mean I don't get to complain about it. I'm valid in my feelings. And I think when we start doing that and we start validating moms' experiences as hard, I think we'll make a big step forward in how we treat moms and how we treat both birth parents and non-birthing parents. So I'm talking also about the spouses, the partners, or whoever, that we need to validate the experience and not judge the experience. Because we tend to do that a lot in Western society, and we tend to say, well, you signed up for this, as if it invalidates our uncomfortable feelings, which is unfair, and it alienates moms. It alienates women in general, because we know that if we go to certain people and we say, this is really hard, we know we're going to get a really, pardon my French, but a really crappy response, which means we're not going to want to talk about it as much, which means it's going to fester and sit in our bodies and sit in our minds and continue to cause problems, because we know we don't have anybody that we can talk to that's going to make us feel validated.
Absolutely. And then that's how relationships can have a wall up, right? And there's distance between people and they stop
Yes.
listening.
Mhm.
Yes. Well,
I'm blown away.
For watching and listening, because we're coming to the end of our program. Jessica, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. We'd
Thank
love
you.
to have you come back.
Yeah.
Tell our audience again, for anybody who's out there, how can they connect with you and who's a good client for you?
All right. Yeah, absolutely. So connecting with me, I'm on Instagram, Just the Mom Coach. My email is jessicasandovalcoaching@gmail.com. my ideal client is a mom who's experiencing those symptoms of burnout, that irritation, the short temper, maybe the yelling that we want to work on. Moms who don't feel like they're enjoying their motherhood experience. I'm not saying it's going to be great all the time. I know it's not for me. But the moms who are really struggling with their identity as a mom would be definitely my ideal client.
And it doesn't matter where in the world they are, correct?
That is correct, Dr. Jacalyn. Like I said, my client right now, she is living in Finland. And when I met her, she was living in Indonesia. So where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Fantastic.
And yes, I'm that old.
Old. You're very young.
Thank you.
Dr. Chan, how can people get in touch with you, and who's a good client for you?
Ooh, that is a good question. A good client for me is for anyone that feels life has become so heavy and dredged with drudgery, and they need to be more playful and want to discover their passion purpose. That's what I'm interested, because it's about creativity and co-creating. So I can help you discover your true creative genius potential and give you the confidence and help you for the tools. I'll give you the tools, and we'll work together and bring out your passion, because life is about passion, as the lovely Jessica said. It's about passion. If you don't have passion, then you get stress.
And by the way, the lovely Jessica, who joins us for the first time, connected her Instagram. I'm so proud of you. We have people here for 3 years who don't have connected yet. So hello to everybody there on Instagram with Jessica. We're happy to have you.
That's the advantage of working from home, is that I'm a teacher online. My bread and butter is I'm a teacher and I work online. I'm an online teacher. So I have become incredibly good with like all of the tech things.
What do you teach?
I teach high school history and psychology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Because we were talking about the past and we're talking about therapy. There's your background right there.
Yep.
That's a program in itself.
For being here. It's been a pleasure. I do have one announcement before we go. We're on a mission to have both of our YouTube channels get to 100,000 subscribers by September 15th. So earlier today, we crossed into 40,000. So we've added 2,070 in the last 28 days, because that's when we started tracking this. So if you would go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV, and subscribe. Our other channel, sadly, I haven't updated yet, but it is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. This was a second channel for us, and we're streaming there right now as well. But these numbers are old. But please do go to our channels and subscribe. That's all we have for now. Thank you so much for being here, Jessica. An absolute pleasure.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Come and see us again. Dr. Chan, always lovely to have you here with us.
I will.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. And thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Dr. Chan.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. 5 little known secrets for dementia caregivers with Tracy Cram-Perkins.
Hi there, I am Tracy Cram-Perkins, the host of the Dementia Home Care Show here on USA Global TV and Radio. I am also the author of the book of the same name. And you'll see this QR code. This is for an extended version of the same talk. So if you want to see the full hour-long version, feel free to scan the code and go to that website. Stick with me. We'll talk about 5 little known secrets to make it a little easier to do dementia caregiving. What you're seeing on the left-hand side is a healthy aged brain, age 55 and above. The one you're seeing on the right is an Alzheimer's disease brain. It is in moderate disease. It is shrinking. It has holes in it. The memories that were in those holes no longer exist. When you're learning something, let's say in kindergarten, you learn how to tie your shoelace. Well, then by the time you're in 2nd grade, your brain remembers that information from tying the shoelace and applies it so you can learn more quickly how to tie more complex knots. So the brain is hardwired to do this for us, so it helps us learn faster so it doesn't take us long to acquire knowledge. The brain is looking for the information and they pick the closest to wherever that hole is. Let's look at some tips that we can use to help do that.
These are 5 simple tools you can use as a dementia caregiver to help your loved one.
The whiteboard is a useful tool in recording the day's activities and the answers to repetitive questions. The calendar clock is a very useful tool to orient your loved one on the day, the date, and the time, and remind them of upcoming appointments. The communication cards are a great tool to bridge the gap when they can no longer tell you what's wrong. And then there's the pill minder for when your loved one is still able to take pills but needs prompting. The final tool I want to share with you is the memory book. It tells your loved one's story. It's a great tool for distraction, redirection, also as a conversation starter, and telling you where they are in their story so you know how to answer their questions. Music is probably the most powerful tool in your toolbox after laughter. Music is a way to maintain connection. It sticks with your brain longer than any other thing, including reading. When you're having an issue with somebody, you can play their favorite music if you move them to another room, something that makes them happy, or you can start singing songs together from their childhood. These are some of my favorite books for caregivers. My show airs on the third Tuesday of every month, and you can view past episodes on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.
This program has been brought to you in part by Tracy Cram Perkins. Connect with her and order her book at tracycramperkins.com. For more information about Alzheimer's disease, support resources, and how you can help, contact the Alzheimer's Association at 1-800-272-3900 or visit their website at www.alz.org. They offer 24/7 helpline support and a wealth of information to assist you and your loved ones. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting The Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the secrets of visual impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you. This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Bella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com. and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
To learn more about Zane, contact her through her website, zanecaruth.com, ZANECARRUTH.com. Order Zane's books and merchandise. Contact her about being a keynote speaker at your next event.